All right, everybody, let's get you started tonight with a live view out at Paristown. Who says the Christmas spirit has to once Christmas is over, right? Warm weather's not stopping anybody out at the ice rink. And hopefully they're enjoying the mild temperatures because they are not going to be here to stay for long. As we say, welcome in. Carson Meredith with you. Back to our regularly scheduled programming, at least for this weekend. Hope you had a wonderful Christmas with you and yours. We have a lot to discuss over the next 36 hours. In fact, there are 5 different things that we will be watching now through Monday morning. Number 1, record temperatures tomorrow. Number 2 will be the heavy rain tomorrow evening, right around this time, in fact. Number 3 will be the strong gusty winds that comes with that heavy rain tomorrow evening. Number 4 will be the bitter cold air that moves in tomorrow night into early Monday. And finally, that small chance still there for a few flakes tomorrow night and early Monday. Did you get all that? We're going to do our best to break it down here over the next however long we're going to be chatting. So let's go outside to downtown. A little bit of a murky view. No surprise, right? We've had, 4 or 5 straight days with mostly cloudy skies. That trend continues tonight, and it's staying plenty mild. 61 is our current temperature at this hour. Light breeze out of the east, less than 5 miles an hour. It's kind of the same song, 4th or 5th verse, right? The spring-like pattern just not shaking yet. Further to the north, though, across southern Indiana, it is a bit cooler, and you can basically tell where the stalled warm front is, right? It's basically splitting wave country in half. For all intents and purposes, it's right along Interstate 64. So north of that front, it's a little cooler tonight. We're at 53 up in North Vernon, 54 in Madison, 56 in Seymour. You go south of that front, there's quite a few more 60s. 63 in Mumfordville, 63 also at Litchfield, 64 in Hardinsburg. But as the night goes on, that warm front is going to lift back to the north. And as a result, 2 things could happen. 1, a few showers may develop this evening and overnight tonight. Very light stuff, no big deal. But what will happen overnight tonight is those temperatures will rise. We will all likely be waking up in the 60s Sunday morning. Until then, we'll likely dip 2 or 3 degrees. That's it. 58's our forecast low here in Louisville. But that's going to occur in the next 3 hours. And once we get closer to midnight, we'll start to see that warm front lift further to the north, and we'll see those temperatures begin to climb. Clouds aren't going anywhere. It stays cloudy all night. There could be some patchy fog that also develops, especially if we get some of these showers through the night. Quite honestly, it will be more of that low stratus kind of settling in, acting as fog, similar to what we had back on Christmas. So just keep that in mind if you're going to be out and about overnight tonight, early Sunday morning. Maybe some patchy fog. Otherwise, just cloudy with a few showers here or there. All right, here's the first piece of our big puzzle that we have over the next day and a half. The record temperatures for Sunday. We are fairly confident that we will see a record go down on Sunday. Our forecast here in Louisville is 72. The record is 70 that was only set 4 years ago, back in 2021. And this is despite some showers that could be around for much of the day on Sunday. This is despite the clouds. The big reason why we're in record territory tomorrow is going to be that very strong southwest wind. So we will likely be breaking records Sunday afternoon. You can probably get away without the jackets, without the coats, until late tomorrow night, because it's truly going to feel like spring during the day on Sunday. Here's the big picture view across the country, and I'm going to pause this so you guys can take it all in, right? Here's the warm front, basically across Kentucky. It stretches in towards St. Louis and up towards Omaha, Nebraska. That is what is going to lift north of us tonight, allow our temperatures to climb into the 60s through the night, and eventually allow us to surge into the 70s tomorrow. This is our next big weather maker, as I like to call it, our next big troublemaker. You got a low pressure developing on the eastward side of the Rockies, along the Colorado-Kansas border, right there. That low pressure, let me clear the map because it's getting messy. So here's the front. You see the low right there on the Colorado-Kansas line. That low is going to trek up towards Chicago and Detroit tonight into the day on Sunday. So we will be solidly in the warm sector tomorrow. But during the day, it's still pretty quiet. Low 70s, few showers, a little breezy, nothing crazy, right? But as this front blasts eastward throughout the day tomorrow and into tomorrow evening, there is going to be a very narrow band of heavy rain that develops basically right on that front. That's where we may have some issues tomorrow night. That's where we could have not only the heavy rain, obviously, but a few rumbles of thunder, but more importantly, the risk for strong gusty winds. Once that front moves through, any risk for strong gusty winds is done. Could still be blustery, don't get me wrong, but we don't have to worry about damaging wind gusts necessarily, okay? So let's go hour by hour for your Sunday. And you notice we have rain/snow chances, all right? So during the day, not much. A few light showers. It's only a 20-30% chance, that's all. It's tomorrow evening, really around this time, when we will be tracking that narrow band of heavy rain moving in from the west. It is not going to last at your house more than a half hour, is that heavy rain and the strongest wind gusts, okay? It's a quick moving front. It's a fast moving front, but it's a powerful cold front, so it can be sneaky. It could pack a punch if we're not careful. So that highest rain chance and that greatest concern for wind is where you see that 60 to 80% chance for rain. That's from 7 p.m. until midnight tomorrow night. 7 p.m. to midnight. That's kind of the window I want you to focus on for the heavy rain and the worst of the wind, okay? So if you have any plans tomorrow evening, if you're going to be out and about, pay attention to the Wave Weather app. Pay attention to Wave Weather Now. I will be live streaming probably around this time tomorrow night as that heaviest rain and the strongest wind gusts roll through. Now, we get after midnight tomorrow night, and there will still be some lingering rain left behind the front, at least for a few hours. And the big question then becomes, once the strongest wind is gone, Once the cold front has moved through, the question becomes, how fast does the cold air move in? And does it move in fast enough to where there is still precipitation in wave country? If we get a little bit of an overlap of that colder air and that precipitation, that rain could transition to a very, very brief period of a mix or even all flurries. But what I will tell you is that risk has trended downward over the last day or so. I am not quite as concerned about the wintry aspect of this system heading into the early morning hours of Monday. That's not to say the risk is totally gone. I just don't expect to see much of a mix or much in the way of snow early Monday morning, all right? So Bots fans, I'm sorry. Probably don't like me for saying that, but that risk is a bit lower than what it looked like earlier in the week. So you see that 30 or a 20 to 30% chance at first for perhaps a wintry mix. And then as the system moves out into the first half of the day on Monday, I can't rule out a few flakes flying around with that colder air in place. It wouldn't be enough to accumulate. And quite honestly, it wouldn't be enough to cause major issues on the roads. A couple things working in our favor with the roads. One, the pavement temperatures are still very, very warm. You got to think, we've been in the 60s for days now. We're going to be in the 70s tomorrow. It'll take some time for those pavement temperatures to drop. Another thing working our favor later in the night into the day on Monday will be that wind. It's not going to be as strong as when the front moves in tomorrow night, but it'll still be enough to dry out those roads. And it'll honestly just blow the flakes around too. So yes, you may see a few flakes flying before sunrise Monday morning, maybe all the way into lunchtime on Monday. But it's only a 20% chance, maybe a 30% chance at best. It should not cause any major problems. The only potential concern I might have with the roads is maybe some leftover moisture from the rain Sunday night, refreezing on a bridge or an overpass here or there. Even then, to me, in this meteorologist's opinion, it's not a high risk, thanks in large part to that wind that'll help the roads dry out. So hopefully that all made sense. I'm throwing a lot of info at you, and I apologize for that, but there's a lot of pieces to this puzzle that we're going to have to deal with over the next day and a half. Let's pause, and let's go through some of your comments, all right? Because I know it's been a while since we've done a live stream, since we really haven't had much going on until what's on the way tomorrow. Weather Geek's here. Yes, I had a wonderful Christmas. I hope you did too, Weather Geek. Nikki, hello. Spring is a little lost these days. Yeah, winter might be a little lost too. Ann's here. Kathy's here. Nathan, hello. Never seen something like this. It happens, Nathan. These kind of sharp turnarounds, this weather whiplash, it does happen from time to time. It's not all the time, but when you get a powerhouse front like this, it definitely can result in these huge swings that we have on the way. So it definitely happens, just not all that often. Blue's here. Let's see. Ice chance Sunday night to Monday. There was that concern, and there still is a small concern, like I mentioned a second ago, for maybe a bridge or an overpass to have a slick spot or two. I just really think a lot of the moisture is going to move out in time before the cold air moves in. The wind will help dry out the roads, and it will also kind of keep any flakes just flying around, not really accumulating much. And the road temperatures are still really warm. So I do not see major travel issues Monday morning at this time. I do not see it at this point. Hello, Kelly, up in North Vernon. Hope you had a great Christmas as well. Gary, uneagerly awaiting the rude return of winter up in Pewee Valley. Yep, winter definitely making a comeback. Looks like Wavy's checking out a crash on the Snyder near Preston, so keep that in mind if you're on the road this evening in the South End. Crystal down in Rhineyville, hello. Hope you had a good Christmas too. Braden says hello to Wavy and me. Candace says, miss y'all. Yeah, we miss you guys. You know, It's the holiday season, so we got a lot of time off. Brian, of course, enjoying a couple weeks off. He'll be back in January. And we haven't had a ton to talk about in the weather department except for what's on the way tomorrow night. This week's just been kind of damp and drizzly, but nothing crazy, right? Tanya says hi. Let's see. Christina's watching in Hanover. Angela's here. Hello, hello. Braden's asking about alert day potential. Hold that thought, Braden, because I do think there is a possibility we may have to put the red flags up. So I'll explain why here in a minute. Yes, there is plenty of cold air behind this front, and there's no doubt about that. All right, we'll pause there. More comments later. Let's go to Futurecast, all right? Because this is a very dynamic system, very powerful system. But there's a lot of caveats with it too. Let's explain. This is noon tomorrow. Not much happening. Breezy? Yes. Cloudy? Yep. Warm? Oh yeah. A few showers? Possible. Nothing concerning throughout much of the day tomorrow. So that's noon. Warm front is way to our north. But even in the warm sector, there could still be a few light showers around. So we'll watch it. I've got a 20% chance across the board during the day on Sunday. 4 p.m., still fairly calm, but look at the far left corner of the map, up where it says Wave Storm Tracking Team, way up here. That's the beginnings of that narrow band of heavy rain. That's the beginnings of strong gusty winds developing within that narrow band of heavy rain. Here's 7 p.m. So at this time tomorrow night, there is a very strong possibility that I will be here on the stream tracking this band of heavy rain as it moves in. And I say band of heavy rain because, guys, there is hardly any storm fuel. There is next to zero instability. There's some. There's a tiny bit, but there's not much. So that band will by and large just be heavy rain and wind. It won't necessarily be thunderstorms everywhere. It won't be a ton of lightning, if any at all. It'll just likely be a band of heavy rain with a few rumbles here or there, and obviously the wind. So this is 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. And what concerns me as you look at Futurecast here, let me take the map full for a second because I want you guys to understand this. This is very similar, by the way, to what we had about 10 days ago. That Thursday, last Thursday, the Thursday before Christmas, we had that band of heavy rain roll through, even dropped an EF0 down in LaRue County. This is very, very similar. But you see these kind of little notches, I guess, right there, where the line kind of sticks out a little bit. That's where you could have those potentially severe wind gusts upwards of 60 miles per hour, kind of embedded within that line. Now, there is also the chance you could get a little bit of rotation in those little bulges in the line. But I will tell you the tornado threat with this system, first of all, it's very low. It's less than 2%. And the better dynamics for tornadic development is up towards Indianapolis and Chicago. So I'm not dismissing the tornado threat. I never like to dismiss the tornado threat unless I absolutely know for sure we're not going to see any tornadoes. But what I'm saying is the main focus is damaging straight line wind gusts with some of these little kinks in that line as it rolls through tomorrow evening. So here's 7 p.m. Bedford, French Lick, Paoli, Jasper, Tell City. You guys will see this first around 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. Here's 9 p.m. This is still a pretty solid band of heavy rain and thunder, right? We're still likely going to have some pockets of strong wind gusts, upwards of 40, 50, maybe 60 miles an hour, as this line gets towards I-65. This is around 9 o'clock tomorrow night. For Louisville, I've said it all day, and I'll kind of keep saying it because there hasn't been much change. I would expect the heaviest rain and the strongest wind gusts in the metro between 8 and 10 p.m. tomorrow night. So about 24 hours from now, that's when you could see very heavy rain. Doesn't last long, but it's going to drop visibilities quick for a short amount of time. And that's also where we have that risk for those stronger gusts, 40, 50, maybe 60 miles per hour. This is a classic high shear, low fuel setup that we always get this time of year. Not a ton of instability, not a ton of storm fuel, but the wind above our heads is crazy. So it's not going to take much to get some of these stronger wind gusts to the ground. Obviously, if we get those 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts closer to the ground, we'll have a few severe thunderstorm warnings to contend with. Now, I hinted at a minute ago, okay, what Braden was asking, what may cause this to go to an alert day? If we get more instability, so if we go through the day tomorrow, we get into the low 70s, which I think we will, but we get a little peak of sun here or there, or even this system moves in an hour or two faster than currently forecast, it's able to take advantage of a little more fuel. It's not moving through in the pitch dark of night. If we get a little more storm fuel, then this line could become more of a line of storms and have more damaging wind potential with it. If we see an upward trend in that storm fuel, in that instability, then we'll likely have to make tomorrow a wait weather alert day. Right now, we're teetering right on that edge, guys. And I don't say that to alarm you, just kind of giving you an idea of where my head's at with this system. I do think the risk for severe wind gust is isolated. Not everybody's going to see 60-mile-an-hour wind gust. But if we become more concerned that that severe wind gust threat is going to be more widespread, then yeah, we could flag it as an alert date just to be overly cautious. But by and large, for a lot of you, this is just going to be about 30 minutes of very heavy rain and strong gusty winds, sub-severe gusty winds, at least based on where things stand now. So here's 9 o'clock tomorrow night. That line is moving right through the metro. 11 p.m., at least according to this model, the worst of it is gone. You see that band clearing Adair County, at least according to this version of Futurecast, by 11 o'clock, pushing out towards Lexington, moving through Lexington around 11 o'clock. And all we're left with is just lingering light rain. So this is going to be a fast system. I think 7 p.m. to midnight is the main window of concern for the heaviest rain and the strongest wind. But after that point, we're just left with some lighter rain through the night. And I will say the fast nature of this system is kind of closing that window for any wintry trouble. So you notice by 3 o'clock Monday morning on Futurecast, there's nothing. There's no rain, there's no wintry mix, there's no flakes. Now, I still think with that colder air moving in, we're going to get some flakes flying around into Monday morning. I just don't think it's going to be a ton, and I don't think it's enough to cause any major travel issues at this point. The big story heading into Monday morning is going to be the cold more so than the flurries. Here's the severe weather risk map, by the way. You can tell that the SPC is more focused on areas to our north and west. So you notice all of southern Indiana, you guys are in that marginal risk. That's a level 1 risk on our 1 to 5 severe weather scale. So it's the lowest severe weather risk you can have, but it still bears watching, right? And as the night goes on and that band pushes eastward, it's going to lose whatever storm fuel it had. It's like a car that's running on 30 miles to empty, right? So it's just moving through southern Indiana, moving through Meade and Breckenridge County. It's running on E. It's running on empty. And then by the time it crosses I-65, it completely runs out of gas. And it's just a band of rain. So as the night goes on, whatever little instability there is will fade. And that's why I think the higher concern for any trouble would be in southern Indiana and even further to our west across western Kentucky. There could still be a few warnings, though. So we want to pay attention to it. All right. So let me pull up Futurecast again. I'll leave that there. We'll go back through some comments, shall we? Adam's here. Is there a better chance of severe up towards Bloomington? Slightly, Adam, slightly. I really think big picture wise, the highest threat is up towards Indianapolis north because they're going to be closer to the low pressure up there. They're going to have a little more shear to work with than we will. So basically for Bloomington, it's a similar threat. That band of heavy rain could have some 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts with it. But I think the higher threat for all of everybody is further north of Indy, closer to Chicago. Hope that makes sense. Judy says hi. Hello, Judy. Reagan's house has the flu. Oh, that stinks, Reagan. Hopefully you're on the mend soon. The flu's something has been wiping a lot of people out lately. I don't know if it's the flu. I don't know if it's COVID. I don't know if it's both, but hopefully everybody stays well. And these dramatic temperature swings aren't helping, right? Michael, we kind of mentioned this, but I know you post your comment probably before I mentioned it, but the flash freeze risk tomorrow night is trending downward because of what you mentioned. A lot of that wind is going to help dry out the roads as the rain moves out. I don't think we get to below freezing in Louisville until 4, maybe 5 a.m. Monday morning, which will also help. And any flakes that are flying around, they're not going to accumulate. They're just going to blow around with the wind. So if anything, couple slick spots on a bridge or an overpass here or there, I don't see a widespread flash freeze Monday morning, which is good. Cameron, hey, block is back. Yeah, at least on a partial schedule, I suppose. What about power outages, Rusty asked? That's a very good question. There could be a few isolated power outages tomorrow night, especially if you see those stronger wind gusts upwards of 50 to maybe 60 miles per hour. That is certainly possible. I don't think everybody's going to lose power. I do not think that at all. But if you see those stronger bursts of wind, there could certainly be a few sporadic power outages here or there. It's just hard to say who has a higher risk for power outages because you see here at Futurecast, everybody's going to deal with this line of heavy rain and wind. So there is at least a chance for some power outages tomorrow evening. Nathan, what kind of alerts are we looking at tomorrow? If anything, it would primarily be severe thunderstorm warnings. You know, I talked about it a few minutes ago. I cannot totally rule out a spin-up tornado. You go back to the system we had 2 Thursdays ago. We had a brief UF0 down in LaRue County. I can't rule out something like that happening again. I just think that risk is very low. It's 2% or less to see a tornado tomorrow night. The main focus would just be those stronger, gusty, straight line winds. Let's see. DJ King's up in North Vernon. Hello, hello. Let's see. Good question, Braden. Will the winds be gusty enough during the day tomorrow before the rain moves in to where we need a wind advisory? I don't think so. Let me pull up the wind graph for you. This is during the day tomorrow. This is not factoring in the gusty, heavy rain. This is just general wind. And you notice those gusts, while still blustery, fall short of wind advisory criteria by and large. Criteria is 40 miles an hour. Notice those gusts peak around 25 to 35 miles an hour throughout the day tomorrow. So I don't anticipate a wind advisory at this point, but do know it's going to be a very blustery day tomorrow, even before the heavy rain moves in. So good question. Good question. Tanya, appreciate you all. Appreciate you guys watching. Let's see. Tammy up in Jennings County wants to know about the severe risk up there. It's basically the same risk for our entire area. So I'll show the severe weather risk map. You see Jennings County is, let me draw it for you. Here's Jennings County, just see Seymour. So you guys are in that level 1 risk. It's the lowest severe weather risk. But within that band of heavy rain, there could be some 50 or 60 mile an hour wind gust. So Not everybody's going to see those 60-mile-an-hour gusts, but if you do, they could cause a little trouble for 15 or 30 minutes as that band is rolling through. And that's kind of the take-home message for everybody. This is not a huge outbreak. This is not, this is not a April severe weather event, right? It's just a low-end risk for some stronger wind gusts within that little band. And you're not going to see that band of heavy rain more than a half hour tomorrow night. But it could still be enough wind to cause a few warnings, maybe a few power outages too. So we're just going to babysit it. Tomorrow night's going to be a very long babysitting night of radar for me. So hopefully that makes sense, Tammy. Good. Hopefully that makes sense for everybody. Shirley, derecho potential. No derecho. Nope. Don't have to worry about that. This will be very isolated, if it happens at all. If we even do see 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, it's not a guarantee. But if we do see 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, say that 3 times fast, it would not be everywhere. It'd just be in isolated locations, here or there. So, Angela, good question. How fast will the temperatures crash? Like a brick falling from the sky. Angela, that is a nice segue for our next talking point, which is the bitter cold that settles in on Monday. I mentioned a moment ago, I think here in Louisville, you notice the far left side of the map or the graph here. I don't think we drop below freezing in Louisville until around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning on Monday. But once we do drop below freezing, we ain't getting back above freezing all day. We'll just kind of hold steady in the mid-20s most of the day on Monday. But this white number you see right here across the board, that is what it's going to feel like. That's the wind chill on Monday. So Monday morning here in Louisville, we'll likely have those wind chills in the low teens. If you do not live in Louisville Metro, you will likely have wind chills in the single digits Monday morning, like 8 or 9 above. Ouch. So we go from an actual high temperature of 72 to wind chills in the low teens. That's a feels like difference of 60 degrees in 12, 18 hours. So this is a dramatic temperature drop that is on the way. And even if we do try to sneak up towards like 28 or 29 Monday afternoon, still feels like the teens. So, yeah, winter is on its way back. And it's going to be here to stay, it looks like. Look at Tuesday morning. Oh, man, that hurts just looking at. Upper teens for actual temperatures Tuesday morning. But it will be feeling more like the single digits again Tuesday morning because that wind will still be holding on. But I will say Monday and Tuesday morning for now look to be the coldest days. So it stays cold all week, but the worst of the sting will be Monday all day and into Tuesday morning. All right, here's the 10-day. Then we'll wrap up with our comments and we'll call it a night. New Year's Eve looks okay. 41, mix of sun and clouds. But look at New Year's Day. Bots fans, listen up. Clipper land. Might have a clipper moving through wave country on New Year's Day. This is not set in stone, but it is something to watch in the days to come. We got to get through tomorrow night first, but this is something that's kind of in the back of our minds. Thursday, New Year's Day, models have been consistent for 2 or 3 days now of sweeping in a clipper from the north and west, diving south and east. I would say that the higher snow chances would be to our north, up into Ohio, eastern Indiana, West Virginia, Pennsylvania. But we may kind of get a glancing blow from this clipper as it rolls through on New Year's Day. What a fitting way to start 2026, right? So that clipper rolls through. It looks to be mainly a morning, midday potential for some light snow. I'm not getting into accumulations at this point because I quite honestly haven't had enough time to look at it because I've been so focused on tomorrow. But right now, accumulations look very minor for now. And you see that greatest potential for accumulations would be basically over the north, let's just say the northern half of wave country. So north of I-64. That would be the area to watch for New Year's Day. Should that clipper decide to scoot on by. Getting into next weekend, we do warm back up into the 40s. May have a few showers to contend with on Saturday. Rain showers by and large. But there is a loose wintry signal in that first week of January when everybody's back in the office, when Brian's back for snow talk. There might be some wintry mischief around the 6th or 7th, 5th, 6th, 7th, somewhere in there that we'll have to keep an eye on. But if you're a fan of warmer weather, I hope you've been enjoying this week despite the clouds and the drizzle, because once those 70s leave tomorrow evening, they're gone for a while. And we'll be stuck with the 30s and 40s instead. All right. Last look at the comments and we'll call it a night. If you got any last minute questions about tomorrow night, about Monday, about New Year's Day, send them my way. Send them my way. Let's see. Hope that Sunday Night Football doesn't get bothered. Yes, I am a huge football fan. Trust me, I am already dreading the risk of having to break into Sunday Night Football. You have my word that I will not cut Sunday Night Football unless there is a tornado warning. Okay? I can absolutely promise you that. I know it's a huge game, but if there's a tornado warning, my number one job is to protect people. So hopefully we don't have to worry about that tomorrow night. Hopefully we can just stay on the digital side of things, but we'll be watching that closely tomorrow night during the game, because that's when the worst of this wind is going to be rolling through. Hey, look who's there. Mr. Wright. How are you, sir? Good to see you. That is my old physics teacher from my junior year at Male High School. You have a blessed New Year too, sir. Appreciate you watching, and appreciate you being such an awesome teacher way back in the day. Gosh, that was 12 years ago. Crazy. Hope you're well, Mr. Wright. Take care. Braden, I bet Wavy could be active tomorrow. Yeah, definitely will be. Wavy will be busy, as will I. Melody, when's the rain supposed to settle in tomorrow evening? There could be showers through the entire day tomorrow, hit and miss light stuff. The heavy stuff moves in after 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Mary, appreciate you watching in Shepherdsville. Good to see you guys again, Adam. I'll be here tomorrow night. I'll be here tomorrow night for sure, but nonetheless, Happy New Year to you. Boy, you got a heck of a start to the new year, right, Adam, with IU playing? Let's see. Shonda, am I going to be live tomorrow night? You bet I am. I will absolutely be here. Sometime during the 7 o'clock hour, I'll be on the live stream like we are now, like we always are on weekends. And tomorrow night will likely not be a more structured live stream like I have tonight, like I normally have. It's probably just going to be me watching radar with you, watching SkyTrack cameras, watching wind speeds, and answering your questions as we kind of babysit radar together tomorrow night. So yes, I will absolutely be on tomorrow night as that heavy rain and wind rolls on through. The next blog after tomorrow, not sure. It gets quieter for the first half of next week, although colder. So that'll just kind of depend on our staffing and our schedules and things like that. Hope you understand. We're not forgetting you guys. We're still here. It's just a little tougher to be able to get a live stream in when we're when we got folks out on vacation. So, but we'll still be here. We'll still be here, and I'll be here tomorrow night, watching those heavy downpours with you. I want to keep saying thunderstorms, but I don't expect to see many thunderstorms tomorrow night. But could still be busy, so we'll be watching it closely. And then winter returns in a big way next week. All right, guys, that's going to do it for now. Appreciate you all tuning in. Next forecast update will be tonight on Wave News at 11. If you're still up, we invite you to tune in. And if not, that's okay. We'll be here all day tomorrow and track it all as it moves in. Track the rain, track the wind, track the record highs, track the flurries, and obviously track that cold too. Thanks for stopping by. Good to be back at it on the live stream, and I will catch you guys later. Take care.